right, we are recording. So I'm literally gonna hold the mic between both of us, and we'll just kind of alternate between the two, or I'll just hold it in the middle, and like we'll just talk.
I just
Lean in a little closer to me, girl. Lean in. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Silly Girl, Silly Thoughts. I'm your host, Mindful Body with Rachel B. It's me. We're joined with another guest today, my really good girlfriend, Serena. How are you, my girl?
I'm good. I'm excited for this today.
You know, it's been a good day, good moment. We're here sitting by the pool. She's invited me over for a lovely morning summer day. You can even hear the birds behind us. I picked them up on my headphones. We've been chatting about life, kind of like growing pains a little bit. Serena's been reading some really good books. We've talked about the Atomic Habits.
Yes.
And you also brought up Good Vibes, which I'm going to take home with me before I leave.
Yes.
We've been talking about good habits. Where do you how do I word this? Because I've met you through our girlfriend Pam through rock climbing, and that's one of my silly hobbies that I picked up in my adult life. I was never an athlete. You've been an athlete all your life.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of sports did you play growing up?
I started off playing field hockey and lacrosse,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was also doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then starting off in college, I started rugby.
Okay. You always wanted to be an athlete.
Not necessarily that I wanted to be an athlete. I feel like it just I'm athletic,
Mm-hmm.
and so I like to be active.
Sure.
So it's not more of I need to be an athlete, but more of I like to keep my body moving. I think if I just stayed at home and did nothing, or if I had a hobby that was a little less active, I think I would just be bored out of my mind.
Were your parents into sports at all or no?
Yes.
Did they kind of they played sports and you observed, or was it just, hey, Serena, like you need to have a sport, like what do you want to try?
Well, growing up, they actually put me in everything.
Okay.
I played every sport, but they put me in random extracurricular activities. So when I was real little, they started off with soccer, choir.
Ooh, choir.
I played piano.
I didn't expect you to play piano. Look
Yes,
at you.
they had me, so I was in different music classes. I would go to the public library near me, had like these cool, fun reading groups.
Oh.
And then I think every sport they saw, they're like, let's try it. I was in dance, I did ballet.
I did ballet once through the parks.
I did drama club.
Okay. We should be in drama club. Maybe that's why we have good humor. It's because we just have been through so much. We've had that comedy touch that people... Do you think as a kid having those sports and routines kind of helped build this sense of like scheduling?
Definitely. I think being part of sports teams, and not necessarily sports teams, but just doing extracurricular activities gives you that self-discipline on being punctual, following certain routines.
You and I both work with kids, but you do behavioral for what age group?
I'm currently with kids around 9 to 12.
Okay.
But it changes.
Because I'm almost sitting here too as I'm thinking, I'm like, you and I grew up with like sports and activities, and now as adults, we almost implement the same for our young kids as our clients. We're still building these ideas of like routine and scheduling. So you're right, we've definitely learned how to be punctual, self-discipline.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've learned community from your sports?
Oh, definitely. I think being part of sports made me more outgoing, made me very social, because you learn that you have to be social with every kind of person.
Yeah. You're not wrong, because I even tell kids all the time, I'm just like, oh, you think you're having a bad time now with that person? You're going to meet them again. And they're like, why do you have to tell me bad news, Rach? I'm like, my friends, these people keep showing up. Like, nobody's truly alone, so you're 100% true. If you're not coexisting with all types of personalities, it's going to get harder.
Yeah, I also think it keeps you level-headed too, because you get angry at someone, or you can, not even at someone, but you could get angry at something, but then they teach you, like, take it out on the field, or use your aggression towards the ball, or whatever it is.
I think I've even told so many young people, especially men, when I work with males, I'm like, you guys have to, anger is such a normal feeling to have, and you're supposed to have it. Anxiety is a normal feeling to have. Like, rage, I'm here for it. But if you're not feeling it in a productive space, like sports, it's that not even boundary, like balance between competition, getting excited and taking advantage, and staying calm and assessing the situation.
Yeah.
Because you played rugby for how many years?
9.
9 years.
Yeah, then
When
I
I wa-
just retired.
my little retiree last rugby game I saw with you, I thought I was just like in awe of like the teamwork because you really are,
Yeah.
everyone has a role, everyone has their part. And even though there's that sense of aggression, you guys are still obligated to regulate your feelings because if someone loses their shit on the field, you're done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it, tackling is a good outlet to get your anger out. So
Very
I'm
true,
like,
very true.
why curse this girl off when I just tackle her and steal the ball or
Mhm,
whatever it
mhm.
is? Um, but I think it's also, I mean, some people do get angry on the field.
I
You know,
believe
you
it.
see it with every sport. But I think it's good to remember, like, everyone gets in their own head, and if someone tackles you too hard, or maybe
Mhm.
someone is just having a bad day, there's no reason to curse at them or yell at them because they're playing their sport. They're
Mm.
using that outlet. I think sometimes someone makes a really hard tackle, and then it's like, what the F? And then it starts a fight. But it's like, you got to remember, like, you're trying your hardest, they're
Mhm,
trying their
mhm.
hardest, and maybe they are currently using it as an outlet to get out of.
Taking a moment, a slice of compassion is what I call
Yeah,
it. You're willing to look at that other perspective. That's a good habit to have, girl.
thanks.
Being sympathetic. Transitioning into this space of like, we've had our sports, we've had our social groups. As kids, now we work with kids trying to help them build a sense of confidence, a sense of outlook, the sense of community. But you and I talk about as adults, what does that look like? How has it changed? We've changed our routines just a little bit. You and I were just sitting in the pool a second ago. We were chatting about just life, who we're dating, what we're working, who our friends are, and how things have changed over time. And I feel like initially we acknowledge that like grief of change. Oh, I can't do this anymore. Because I've had my, I don't know if you want to talk about your back injury.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm retiring from rugby because I have a fractured spine.
Mm,
It's called L3 spondylolisthesis.
hmm.
And, a few herniated discs, so they said I can't play anymore. Um, that was hard,
Yeah.
because I love playing. And, luckily I have a core of best friends on the team that still keep in touch. So I didn't completely lose the feeling of being part of that team, but I'm still not part of I'm not part of that feeling of victory when they win a
Yeah.
game or.
I still remember when you sent us the text between our little group chat, the three of us. My initial thought was, but Serena's always an athlete. And I
Yeah.
could see through our messages like your own grief. There's that I don't have this anymore. It's different. It's changing. And I saw that, but then I still even emphasized, girl, you're always an athlete in my head. How do we change this? I'm like, how are you not going to be moving? Like you're going to find a way to move in a different space, but for so many of us humans, we still have to acknowledge that moment of, oh, can't do this anymore, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, because, well, not only was I playing rugby, but I was doing heavy weightlifting in the
Mhm.
gym. And so when the doctor told me I can't run anymore, I can't deadlift or squat anymore, I start crying.
Yeah, I believe it.
What am I supposed to do with my life?
I would crumble.
So, and I did for a hot second, but then I realized, life is not over. I
Mm-mm.
just had to adjust my workouts,
Mm.
figure out other ways of cardio.
Mm.
We talked about buying rollerblades together and going
I'm sitting here in the
rollerblading.
pool with her like I have rollerblades in my trunk right now. Buy a pair of rollerblades. We'll rollerblade. We'll talk yoga. We'll talk walking. We'll talk canoeing. We'll talk kayaking. We talk about
Yeah.
all the different ideas of what we want to do because I also consider you one of my most adventurous friends. I think that was even for me. Like I didn't grow up with sports. I wasn't a competitive person, even though like I did karate a little bit, but it wasn't emphasized in my household. It was like, oh, you just do what you feel comfortable doing. But I ended up being so isolating, and then I also came from like a strict home, so the online world was my outlet. And then as an adult, I'm like, wait, I need to move my body. Like I need to have a better relationship. So I found yoga in my community there. And that slowly built confidence into rock climbing, which then slowly brought me to Pam, you, and now I've been exposed to so many other sports. You're trying to convince me to do pickleball at some point. And I'm sitting here like, I've never thought of myself as an athlete, but I cannot not see myself doing what I do now. And maybe it's because I've been influenced by you or influenced by so many others to just try new things
Mhm.
as we're an adult.
I think you are very naturally athletic.
Really? Thank
Yes. I
you.
mean, and you're active and you like to be active.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people have this stigma of I didn't play sports growing up. I'm not
Yeah.
competitive, so I'm not an athlete.
Yeah.
But I disagree. If you're out there working hard doing the sport you love, yoga,
Do it.
Rock climbing,
Mhm.
like
We weightlift, we walk.
you weight lift.
Pilates are now an
Yeah.
athletic thing. Like there's something for everybody because it's almost like I don't know how you see growing up. Like I almost see childhood, teenage, 20s, and I break it off by decades now. So like 20s is like this
Mhm.
developmental, who am I? What am I doing?
For
And
sure.
we even talked a second ago just like comparison. We get so caught up in like, oh, this is what we're supposed to do, this is what we should do, like with social media. Like a lot of our friends will travel, or a lot of people are having big weddings, or people will promote their jobs. And I think that too is that, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it at the right time like everybody else or not?
Yeah. Well, and I also think so when you're in college, not that everybody goes to college, but
Mhm.
as a
That
whole,
age.
people just are like, "Oh, these are all my best friends because we love to party together."
Mm-mm.
Or these are all my best friends because we have like these classes together. And so, I think it takes cuz you were saying how now by decades, now I'm in, my mid to late 20s. I'm about to be 29
Ah, girl, I'm
actually.
already 29.
Um you realize being friends with these people because you all like to drink is
Mm.
not really a good way to like put a group together. So now when I'm developing these new friend groups in my 20s,
Mm.
I do have my rugby group of friends. Then I have you
The
and
needs
Pam.
change.
Yes, and it's not
Yeah.
just like I have these friends to drink and these friends to study.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
like these are the hobbies I love and I have friends for this hobby. These are the hobbies I love.
Hi, Murph.
Hi puppy.
I know we were talking a second ago too about like our friends, and even I'll tell people like every relationship fulfills a certain need.
Yes.
So we have our friend group where we're just our most authentic selves. We're rock climbing, we're chilling, we're talking, we're living life without judgment, with open conversation. And then we have, like you said, we have our friends that we party with, we have our friends that we travel with, we have our friends that we do schoolwork with, we have friends that we work
Gossip.
with. We love good
Good
gossip.
gossip.
Oh, our favorite.
But and yeah, we were just talking about how I love our friend group because we could like you could come over swim, but we could go inside and create vision boards together and talk
Exactly.
have these deep our friend group is very like deep conversations and make these vision boards and
Mhm.
talk about
Mhm.
our future and then but also talk about oh let's go backpacking or let's do this and
We'll plan a camp day soon.
for
I
sure.
keep talking how I want to go camping one day. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna be in the woods, never come back.
Well, one of my favorite things to do, so hit me up.
It's gonna happen because our needs change. I don't know if
Yes.
it's because I even notice in myself as I get older as an adult, there's a sense of empowerment. And again, I came from that. I say strict, but I really think it's just my mom's anxiety. My mom tried so hard to keep us safe, and she
Yeah.
was so worried about the outside world because so many people talk about look out for, make sure, don't, your daughter needs to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, girl, I'm home. I'm not going very far. And here I am with adult power to say like, well, now I can go buy the gym membership and now I can go rock climbing for the first time and I don't have my mom going, are you safe? Make sure you're being safe. It's
Yeah.
that trying something new.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
And it's also you're finally I think as you meet new people you get more exposure to new things
True.
like let's just talk about real quick how cool your sister is that she's doing roller derby.
I mean, I'm even thinking too how you and I, even though we lived in different areas, like Kenilworth was a middle ground or Union was a middle ground because you played rugby in that town, but I also worked in that area. And over time, like paths cross. We were just talking earlier how New Jersey's so small.
Yeah,
I'm
true.
almost connected to everybody in some silly way because it's just, I don't know, I think it was my job over time. I had to put myself out there for yoga. I had to put myself out there in places. Do you find relationships at work through your work friends or no?
I do. I have great actually the wedding I'm going to on
Mm.
Sunday is one of my
Look at
coworkers.
that.
Yeah.
I talk adult relationships again with so many young people, and they're like, how do you maintain friends? But even though our friendships change, friendship is found at work.
Yeah.
Do you get caught up in the whole like, so many young kids are like, how could you be friends with someone who's older with you? I'm like, I'm past the age of 25. Like my one of my good friends are like 55, 60s. Like I have older friends because they just fulfill a different part and maybe that's grounding.
Yeah, well, especially at my job, we have girls who are 22,
They're young,
but then we
yeah.
have girls that are in their 40s.
I feel like that's such a good range though.
Yeah,
Even though
everyone gets
everyone's doing
along.
something a little different, I almost like enjoy having people a little bit more older than me.
Yeah.
'Cause I almost feel like it relieves my anxious. Like, am I doing this okay? And they're like, you're fine. We did this 5 years ago. It's normal. And you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
that
true.
little outlet too of like just people normalizing human things because people do human things. It's
Yeah.
hard being 20s.
Yeah.
What are some, we'll talk health habits are you doing in your 20s? Because I feel like too, since you and I are close at that end of 20s going into 30s, I don't know if you hear this, but like my friend group will always be like, oh, we're turning 30, like we're changing our habits. What are you doing, Rach? Living. Like I'm good. My habits have been set. What habits are we doing on your side?
Well, I wake up every morning and go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
That's a habit I always have. Um, I've just in the last couple of weeks because I put on a few pounds. Welcome to
Girl,
your
you've been traveling. You've been enjoying summer.
yeah, but it's showing on the scale, which I try not to go by, but
Mm.
sometimes you just can't help it. But so I've been counting my macros more than my calories
Okay.
right now. So I don't believe that someone should like live their life counting calories,
Mm.
but I'm just resetting. So I am counting calories at the moment, but it's more about tracking my protein and my
Yeah.
fiber, making sure I'm getting my nutrients.
I almost say, because end of the day, we're not nutritionists. I know that. Even I tell people, but I love talking about food because it's just something we all experience. And even a relationship with food is tricky.
Yeah.
Do you find it almost, because how you're saying it almost sounds like foundation to me. Like, yeah, we don't want to count calories all the time, but you're almost doing that. Let me find that framework. Because you repeat meals after a while.
Yeah, and I think what happens if you just count calories for, just say, a month or two,
Mm,
it also gives you a basis of what your portions should look like. I
exactly.
think one of my biggest issues when I do put on a few extra pounds is because I'm like, let me have a little bit larger portions, and then I realize my portions are out of control.
Mm-mm.
So I think it kind of helps me reset back to, okay, this is how big my portions could be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, should be.
Ben and I are different in our habits because he can eat anything that's not vegan, and everything in the house that's vegan is like healthy-ish.
Uh
But
huh.
those snacks, they're in the house for a day.
Yeah.
I eat everything in the moment, and I'm like, crap, I just ate all my Trader Joe's Bamba, and now I don't get any more the rest of the week. Oh, it's just company.
Yeah.
People play a part in, and we can even include that, how we're influenced by each other. People
Yeah.
don't talk about that. Like what you said a second ago, when you're in college and you're having fun and you're partying, that's love. I call it like young and dumb life. You don't have to think a thought. You can have fun, but when we get older and those friends aren't influencing us to do habits that we want, it kind of also sucks. It's that change again, that moment of grief of saying, okay, well, we can still have this friendship, but it's going to look a little different.
Yeah.
Now I need friendships that have better habits to help motivate me to have better habits and so forth. I think
Yeah.
that's why I have you guys. You and Pam are like my motivating friends to go rock climbing, my motivating
Definitely.
friends to do new athletic things. There was a moment Pam even tried to talk me into going running, and I'm like, girl, I run for my life, and after small children and animals, I'm not running for fun. Like, I don't. It's not happening. But I like that motivation, girl.
Uh,
I like that invite.
I know before my spine injury, Pam
Mm.
was really good at keeping me good with going to 5Ks. We were all doing
Okay.
those, so we did the turkey trot
Yes.
most recently last Thanksgiving. Like, I just want to eat some freaking mashed potatoes
I
right
mean,
now, but we did it.
the reward after the task, right?
Yeah.
It's a little sweet treat. What are your rules with the gym? I don't mean to cut you off. Do you
No, that's
do every day? Because I almost do a 3 to 4 day a week. I don't even focus so much on like, oh, do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because my schedule gets all messy. Sometimes I'll say, hey, if we can do the gym 3 days out of this week, look at your schedule. Looks like it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sounds like it's good enough.
Yeah, I go 6 days a week. I
Okay.
take a rest day. I aim for Tuesdays
Mm.
because Mondays I'm a little refreshed because I just had like Sunday.
Same.
I woke
It's
up.
hard to go to the gym on a Monday.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I do go on Mondays.
Mm.
Tuesdays are my rest days, but because like I force myself to go Monday and then Tuesday I'm like I'm still tired from the weekend. So Tuesdays are usually my rest day, but sometimes it will be Monday. If I don't go Monday, I'll go Tuesday,
Mm.
whatever. Um, if I wake up, sometimes you wake up and you're just like I don't want to go. I reward myself with Atomic Habits, that book. It talked
Mhm.
about habit stacking, and so my gym has a sauna. It has a little massage bed. So I reward myself. And I'm like, if I get there early, or if I wake up and I go,
Mm.
I can lay down and get a nice massage. I can relax in that sauna. And then I feel 100 times better at work than I would have if I didn't go at all.
So right.
So habit stacking definitely helps. You know,
Hmm.
it's reinforcing. I don't want to wake up and go to the gym. But if I go and I get a little exercise in, sometimes I'll trick myself. I'll be like, you know what? I won't even work out. I'll just go for the sauna. But then you're there and you're like, okay, well, I have to work
I'll just
out.
walk 10 minutes on the elliptical, watch my show. I'll save that show I wanted to watch. I'll do it there. I'll do it there. No, I
Yeah.
hear you. I I love the gym. And I think it is. It's just that idea of like, as long as I just show up, is a good idea. And I even joked with you. I said, whatever silly habits you have, Serena, share. Like, I would talk to myself. I'm like, come on, girl, you can't afford a BBL, but we can do some squats because summer's coming and we want to fit in that bathing suit. Let's go. Silly shit.
Yeah.
Everyone has to find what silly thing helps them get outside because when we're not doing anything, I don't know. I feel like we get more critical to ourselves. We're like, oh, now you really can't do anything and now you can't, you're not capable. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so harsh. We are our biggest critics.
We are our own worst critic, and I think about that when some people they get too anxious to go to the gym because they're like,
Mm.
these people are gonna see me and know that I don't lift. I actually, this one woman I work with, she's like, I need to get back in the gym, but I'm scared because everyone's gonna judge me,
Hmm.
and you know, I'm sure there are people out there that have mean thoughts in their head,
Yeah,
but
screw them. They're
99%
probably
of the people
uncomfortable.
in the gym are like, look at this person working their butt off. You know how many people, like, after I first started going every day to this, I started a new gym because I was at a new job.
Mm.
And, you know, after being there almost every day for, you know, a few weeks,
Yeah.
people were like, I love seeing how much, like, hard work you put in. I could tell, like, you're really here to, like, try your best.
These are another. I always consider gyms as community spaces for us, which people again don't talk about because I know that I'm still in this moment of like things definitely changed in the last 4 years where everyone's gotten so scared to go outside, but everyone's so hungry for relationships and so hungry for new habits. I'm like, but when you're incorporating these community spaces like the gym and you're seeing the same faces, say hi to the front desk, say
Yeah.
hi and goodbye as you leave, look at the trainers, like these are the faces that you're going to see every day that you're going to have to talk to at some point. They're right there. Say hi and make some friends.
For real, I consider there's about 10 to 15 people I see every time I go.
Mhm.
Maybe less actually. Maybe
Mhm.
like 8 to 10 people. I
That's
have
still an
no
awesome
I
number.
I have no idea what their names are, but
That's
I'm like, those are my friends. We're tight. We go and we say hi. We don't talk the whole workout. We don't talk,
that's
but
okay.
like they're my
It's the
friends.
company you keep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always love it. Ugh, what is my reward at the gym? I feel like honestly, it's just my protein parfaits when I get home.
That's a great
I love a
reward.
little yogurt. Mix your protein powder in. No more shakes.
I'm not a big
Protein
shake.
powder and yogurt. Add some granola. Add some fruit. It's some good stuff.
I do that. I love that. Yeah, I think people just need to learn what they like to
Mm.
reward themselves.
Mm.
Like if you don't like the gym, make it reinforcing. If I go to the gym, I can do that. I can have a yogurt
You
parfait,
can.
or I can go sit in the sauna, or get a massage on a hydro bed.
Some people pick up like if it's not a food treat. What is it?
My friend buys herself. This is a very expensive habit,
Oh
but if she
gosh.
like goes to the gym
Mm.
for whatever certain amount of days in a week, she'll like buy herself a new workout top, or she'll. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I can't afford that, but
I
if
don't think
you
I have the
have
closet space if I had to be honest. I
that
got one of those
too.
like little like it looks like a cubby hole for all my leggings and I hang in my closet and I already have like 3 pairs of leggings in one little cubby. I'm like, I gotta start cleaning this out.
Or I'm sorry, it's she'll say if she stays on the stairmaster for like an hour,
Oh, God
that she'll
bless.
buy herself.
God bless. An hour?
Yeah, exactly. So she's not getting that many
What kind of
workout
buildings
tops.
is she climbing? So we talk about how gyms are such big community spaces. These are like I don't know. We've talked. I think Pam does a running club. That's been a new trend too because it's like our age group, these like 20s. People want to interact. People want to engage again. So we have running clubs, we have gyms, we have summer events. But it really is like, what is your interest and who do you want to find? I always ask myself, like, what kind of friend do I want to have when making new friends?
Yeah,
Because it's just, who are you attracted to? And
for
some people,
sure.
it's like, what kind of friendships are you attracted to? I feel like I always attract outgoing people by accident.
Hello, here I
Hi.
am. um, I agree. I think most of my friends are outgoing.
Mhm.
I think I attract active people.
You
because
do.
I'm not one to like. I'll never be like, come over and watch TV with me. I would be so bored. I'd be like,
Mm.
why are we both here?
I told you, but I didn't tell podcast. I found our friend Pam, who then introduced me to you, but I found her through Bumble BFF. And I think that was, holy shit, 4 years ago, maybe? I don't even know how long we've been friends. If you told me 2 years, I'd be like, maybe. If you told me seven, I'd be like, holy shit. I think it's been like 4 years. I don't even remember, four or
Maybe.
five. Maybe we're going into our fifth year together, but it feels like
Huh.
I've known you guys for so long. But I thought it was hilarious that Bumble BFF was a thing, but everyone would write, "Oh, just come over for a glass of wine and TV." I'm like,
Yeah,
that's so
no. It's
boring. I don't want to
yeah.
sit at home with you all day. Like, we have to go outside and do something. Like, friendships are beyond this sense of like doing nothing.
Yeah. Some of them will be like, let's go out to dinner. I'm like, I'm not trying to go on a date.
Yeah, I don't want dinner
I
again. I
need
was just
someone to
thinking that too. Like, one of
be.
my girlfriends like, "Can we not go out to dinner this time?" I'm like, "Fair, fair. Like, all we
Yeah.
do is sit and eat. Like, we should do something else." So we even would meet at the park. My girlfriend and I just walk around the park.
Yeah.
That's it, and just gossip that way.
We
instead of
love a
o-
good gossip.
instead of over a plate of dinner, we're just gossiping in the trees, in the trees. But it's finding those interests. Do you feel like your interests changed as you got older? I mean, I talked about,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I
What's
think it
changed?
also. Sorry, I
No,
didn't
go
mean to
ahead.
cut off your question. I think I mentioned before it has a lot to do with exposure.
Mm.
You know, you have interests from things that you know, and now, like, I didn't know about rugby until college, and that was
Okay.
my favorite hobby. Now, I like told you, my friend made me these cool New York Rangers pants that she sewed together. So now I really want to start sewing in the winter when I can't go outside.
I love it.
Because of my back, I want
Mm.
to start rollerblading.
Mhm.
I learned pickleball the last few years because of being exposed to different things.
I told you a second ago. I'm like, my boyfriend wants to get me on a surfboard because he loves surfing. I'm a little scared. But we've taken up longboarding. I didn't expect to be longboarding. I didn't expect to be. What else did we do together? I honestly, I didn't expect to have a partner who enjoys gardening as much as I do, and I don't even think he did. But I think the initiative of saying like, "Hey, I would really love to have a garden," brought something out in him to be like, "We could do this together." And now we have a
Yeah.
whole mini farm in the
I
backyard,
love that for you.
introducing me to like new farming friends, and I'm learning how to grow food. Like, I think it's so fun to see my friends lean into hobbies like sewing, cooking, like skills. Because that's
Yeah.
so important to have in your 20s. No one talks about the importance of having life skills.
Definitely. You're right.
We have to cook for ourselves. If you learn how to sew, you can make me clothes.
Sure.
Start hemming all our clothes, and we'll be like, "Oh, this fits," and we'll change that, and we'll make this new. I think it's so fun. I even
Yeah.
see these people on TikTok sometimes. I think that's what I like on TikTok is finding people who lean into their hobbies and share what they do versus people who emphasize that we all need to do the same hobby,
Yeah.
even if you
I
don't like it.
agree.
Because we don't have to be the same. I think I appreciate how the three of us are different in our own ways. Like, unfortunately, our girlie Pam is not with us because she's homesick. But I see her as like our travel person, and you too. But even you and I would joke like, "Oh, Pam is like a bird; she'll just find her way and find something new." Like she's picked up so many different hobbies and choices, and
Yeah.
even career paths that she's tried that I'm like in awe.
Yeah.
If we asked her, she would be in awe of us. If I asked you, you'd be in awe. Like we're all looking at each of us doing such cool, similar but different things.
And I think that's what I really appreciate about our friend group is we're all so unique in
Mhm.
our own way.
Yeah.
Like we're all adventurous and we all like to be outdoors and have fun and but we all have our different hobbies and different
Yes.
favorite sports
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
so I agree. I think that's one of the best things about our friend group.
For my listeners, they can tune back to our little quick boundaries episode, but this is a moment of highlighting boundaries in adulthood. Like, we're, I don't know, in high school, I felt like so many people tried so hard to be the same. As adults, like you said, there's boundaries to each of our needs because we're all acknowledging that we're different people, but there's still this excitement of coming together. So many people get nervous in their 20s. They're like, oh, we don't have the same interests. We shouldn't be friends anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't want to be friends with just myself. Like, I want to be
Yeah.
friends with different people. I want to learn about new things.
Exactly. I think it's better to be friends with people who have at least some sort of different interest than you
Mhm.
because that's how
Mhm.
you learn.
We're all going to share similar like life's things. Like We were just talking about our wedding parties for our future weddings, our future families, our future homes. Like we can all share these life milestones, but we're just gonna get to it different ways.
Yeah,
Beauty of it. I love it.
I agree.
Diet culture, gym culture. What's a habit that you had to break into adulthood?
Hmm.
I'm gonna think of one for myself too.
Okay. I'll tell you a habit that I started coming
Okay.
into adulthood. I have a very strict bedtime and bedtime routine.
What's the bedtime routine, my girl? Because we're
So,
trying to live stress free best
yeah,
as we can.
I go upstairs, I brush my teeth,
Mm.
floss, of course, I wash my face, I put on my eye mask,
Ooh.
and while I'm doing my eye mask, I'll read or do a
Mhm.
little Duolingo whenever I'm feeling. I try to do, while I'm relaxing with my eye mask, I try to do something educational.
Are you still trying to learn Spanish? Is that the language you're leaning into?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We'll learn
Yeah.
together. We joke about how we're gonna speak Spanish to each other. We're both little mixed Puerto Rican chickies.
Our next podcast together will be in full Spanish.
Full Spanish. It'll be great. Well, that'll be season two. I feel in my
Yeah.
soul. Season two, we're gonna be speaking Spanish. It's gonna be great.
Uh,
I'm trying to think. Like bedtimes are important.
yeah,
I know it's so. I'm not a night person. You and I are both morning people. I don't know if it's just because of our jobs
100%.
or just because of even our goals with our fitness that we're just up in the morning. We talked about
Yeah,
the
we wake up so
loveliness, the
early.
beach in the morning. I can't wait. We'll do that together soon too.
Definitely.
Because nighttime, there are some people who they are nighttime people.
Not me. Not I.
Maybe Pam because she's working the night shift lately.
All those moons on her
All those
schedule.
moons on her schedule that I thought were her rest days, and I'm like, wait, those are the night shifts. My bad. Um, yeah, I'm in bed by like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock
Me
because I
too.
work nights. That's the only sucky part about being a therapist is that I have to be available at night. So I feel horrible. I'm like yawning in my clients' faces at 5 o'clock. I'm like, are we done yet?
Same.
Like, I'm ready to go home. You need to go to bed. We gotta wrap this shit up. Wrap
You
this
seem like
shit
you're
up.
doing great, so let's get out of here.
Let's go home. I'm trying to think. Habit that broke into my adulthood would probably be. I'm trying to even think. Because I think what was so hard in my adulthood is just like finding your habits while living at home. You and I both lived with our parents for a very long time, and it's hard. And I think so many of our 20-year-olds feel this because it's just what we do. We live at home and trying to build habits in our house. Mine was like food habits.
Oh.
Having to do that in my family's house was challenging because my dad has his routine. Like he's like, I eat at this time, lunch is at this time, dinner's at this
Absolutely.
time, and I'm like, well, Dad, I need to eat something different. Like my habits are gonna change, even though we live in the same space. And it brought like conflict. The fridge is overcrowded with
Absolutely.
food. Who's in the kitchen? Where is the cooking space? It brings us challenges for us.
Yeah. No, that's where self-discipline comes in
Mm.
because I definitely also struggled with that, I'll meal prep I would meal prep a healthy meal and I would eat dinner and all of a sudden they're coming in with Chinese food or maybe like
Oh,
a dessert. And it's
yeah.
like it was so hard
Because they
at
don't
first
know. Our
to,
parents have their own habits.
yeah.
What does self discipline look like for you? Because I almost say it as like I gentle parent myself, just different than what my parents did.
Yeah, I think I just try to like every decision that I make, and this is hard because I'm very impulsive, but every
You're
decision
human.
that I make, it's like, is this a good decision? How much will this affect me?
Mm.
And of course, the thing with self-discipline, you should be able to give in a little bit here and there
You have to be gentle
with
with
reason.
yourself.
Yeah, because I think some people, especially on TikTok, social media, it's like you have to be this disciplined and you can never cheat or
Mm.
make this mistake. Sometimes you can. You're allowed, like they always said, you can't succeed unless you fail. And you're
Exactly.
gonna fail over and over and over again. It's never gonna be a straight path up to success.
We keep talking, like, I'll definitely keep bringing up the idea that failure is necessary and that even though you're not going to like it, it's going to happen. And you have to accept it. You have to feel comfortable in the uncomfortable. Ooh. And when things fail, people give up. And
Yeah.
that already makes it harder. That, like, once the momentum is going, you don't want to stop. But if you pause to catch your breath, that's okay. But if you hard stop,
Yeah.
you're going to have to push yourself 2, 3 times harder. And that's just a warning. You do you.
People fail and then they just give up because I think they have an end goal in mind or
Mm,
like a set date and people don't realize this goal or whatever it is that they want to do, it's for the rest of their life.
yeah.
So I think
I was
that's
gonna
when it.
say, I'm like, how do you set goals? Do you picture that long term or do you do short term?
So I kind of have a little bit of both.
Mm.
Like I know where I want my end goals to be, that where I'd be happy maintaining.
Okay.
But to get there, they are very, very small
Mhm.
goals because growth is not linear.
No.
And so you can't,
I love that line. I feel like I keep quoting small lines because I'm like, this is therapy. People just change the wording in different way, but you're 100% right. Growth is not linear because there's so many things that impact. That's what I talk about in therapy too. It's you are in control of yourself. You can set that goal. But then what are the outside factors? Our families play a part, our work plays a part, our schedule plays a part, and these it's like a video game. If these are the little hills that you get over, how do you get over? How do you adjust your goals to fit your needs? Because we're different.
yeah.
You and I both, even if we just talked about food, like your eating habits are different than mine. I'm vegan, you're not. So the way you're adjusting your calories is based on your needs. And the way I adjust my calories is eating a lot more beans.
Yeah, everyone's goals are and should be different. Um, I love TikTok,
Mm,
but I also hate it because
yeah.
you see things and you're like, some there's fitness influencers and they'll be like,
Mhm.
I eat this many calories a day with this much protein and blah blah blah, and this is what you should do and how much you should work out if you want. But if you just go in, not the same person as that person, and try to follow their
Mhm.
habits, one, you're gonna fail because it's not gonna be
You don't have the same body.
sustainable.
You don't have the same resources.
Yeah,
What was that line? Like, they almost compared it to dogs. Like, if you're built like a German Shepherd, don't expect yourself to shape like a Chihuahua. Like, something like that. I'm butchering.
love that though.
I'm
I
butchering
get
it.
it.
But
I
you
get it.
get the gist of it. And
Yeah.
I think about that with fitness. Like, I follow fitness people on TikTok as well. And even I've told people, follow people with different shapes. Because not hating the short girl, all I would find was the skinny 5 foot girl with a big ass. And I'm just like, bitch, I'm built like a giraffe. Like, the ass is not growing because my legs are way too long. I need someone who looks similar to me to get a better idea of what would fit
Yes.
better for me. And it's not
For sure.
exactly for me, it's just to give me an idea of what I'm willing to try to see if it's going to work.
Exactly. Things seen on social media can be taken as
Mm,
suggestions, but
exactly.
not new lifestyle
No.
decisions.
There's trial and error to this.
110%. And I realize that more now. I think also going back to my injury, I realized I'm not only adjusting my workouts,
Mm-hmm.
but because I'm not doing as much cardio, I have to adjust my eating habits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And with both, with my eating habits and with my workouts, it is so much trial and error.
Food is fuel. You have to eat at the end of the day.
Yes.
But like you said, when you're an athlete, like I always picture my brother. I don't know why I always talk about boys because when we see men eat as athletes, it's like, holy shit, that's a lot of food.
Oh, I
And then there's,
don't get me
like
started.
you said, it's us. Like, we're not moving as much. I even, what was that thing that people would do? Like, carb cycling. That was a weird diet that
Yes.
people did for a while. And I keep in the back of my mind as a, hey, think about it. Because if I do heavy lifting days, I'm going to be fucking hungry.
Yeah.
So I'm eating more carbs versus my lighter days where I'm just doing yoga. I'm probably eating more fruits and vegetables because I just want the hydration.
Yeah,
You got to think about those needs. That
for sure.
it's reflecting on your body. What would make you feel better?
And I'm glad you brought up carb cycling because I've heard people say carb cycling doesn't work, keto diet doesn't work,
Mm.
um, all of those fads or lifestyles
Yeah.
don't work. But like we were saying, everybody is different. Maybe
Everybody.
keto doesn't work for you, but Joe Schmo over there
Mm-hmm.
just lost 100 pounds and gained 50 pounds of muscle.
Exactly.
Like it's just, I hate when I hear people talk about all these lifestyles not working out when it's like Everyone's different.
No, you can't push your own single agenda to everybody. I think that's
Yeah.
why when people ask me about being vegan, I'm like, oh, I like to be vegan. They're like, well, you must be so upset. Like, I'm so sorry I brought a ham sandwich to work. I'm like, I really don't care what you eat. I don't care. You are not slaughtering an animal in front of me. Like, I don't give a. And if you did, I'd be like, congratulations, you killed your own dinner. Like, that's not me.
Yeah, well, that's another reason why I really
Mm.
appreciate you as a friend is because our eating habits are
Mhm.
so different. I love my protein.
Yeah,
If
live your best
you should
life.
see how I eat enough meat for both of us, but you would never like sit there and lecture me or
No, it's not
say chill on
appropriate.
your meat, chill on your meat, girl.
No, we're not assholes to each other. We're respectful of our own habits.
Yeah.
It's what we need.
And you're a hella good cook with your vegan food. Sometimes I'm like, this is not vegan, and it
Girl, I was
is.
debating to cook today. If I had more time, I was like, we could have made corn muffins. I love cooking for people because I think that's the appropriate way of sharing goals. And maybe that's where we come to our conclusion is there's a difference between you and I will sit here and talk about our goals as a way of like, hey, I'm trying something new. Like, this is how it's working, the pros and cons. We're so transparent, but it's never that, hey, you need to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're so open minded about who's doing what and willing to explore, but also being compassionate again towards ourselves. Because sometimes things we try the first time doesn't work.
Agreed. And being compassionate towards other people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our whole life is trial and error.
Yeah.
You can, and even going back, you can love being keto, or you could, not you, I know you love
Yeah.
being vegan, but like, you can love being vegan for 3 years and then
Mm-hmm.
one day be like, you know what? I feel like having steak
That's
every
a
day for the
valid,
rest of my life.
and that's a valid experience that I still see people get hate for because people have asked me, they're like, well, what are you going to do if you're ever pregnant? Like, are you going to stay vegan? I'm like, well, I'm not pregnant right now, but
So, yeah.
I would probably talk to a nutritionist to see what goes on, and I probably have to listen to what my body needs in the moment and adjust based on that new goal of growing a life.
Yeah.
These are those moments. It's going to happen. Stay open-minded and stay flexible.
Yes.
It's that gray area I always go back to in so many of my podcasts. And I think that's just my niche at the end of the day is that balance because black and white would be being so overly disciplined where you're not doing anything fun and being so restrictive that you're playing with that temptation of, I don't know, going crazy or like overindulging or having no boundaries where I see this now with people our age. They have no routine, no schedule, no nothing. That they're so overwhelmed that they're almost frozen.
Yeah.
But we have to sit in that gray of stay disciplined, but be flexible.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a weekly thing for each person. Maybe that's a day to day, depending on when you wake up.
Yeah, I think sometimes people hear routine and they're
Mm,
like, I don't have time to sit. My whole day cannot be a routine.
mm.
A routine could be an hour a day. Not even, it could be 10 minutes. You could start a routine. Or like every night before bed, I read a chapter or
Yeah,
I don't, you could brush your teeth at night. That's a routine.
that is a routine.
You know, you could start so small. So it's like right before I brush my teeth, I do this tiny thing, whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be, I said read a book, but I don't even want to name like cliche routines that everybody has. It could be like I could garden for 15 minutes before, and then go to work, or I don't know.
I did this silly thing after watching, like, I watched so much Blue Zones. I've been in the yoga career for so long that I've met some interesting people. So I started doing like little Tai Chi in my backyard in the morning.
Fun.
And I'm like, my neighbors are probably going around going like, who's this young girl just doing weird stretches in the backyard? It's me. But it's just, I'm outside taking my dogs to the bathroom. I might as well start stretching while they're just doing their business.
Yeah.
Take advantage of those small pockets. So many people our age have animals, have kids, and they're like, oh, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Like you said, start small. Take
Yeah.
advantage of small pockets of time to implement little things. I've started massaging my face. I've been doing that for over a year. Lymph node draining,
You mentioned that to
or
me.
even like people use a gua sha, but I use my
Yeah.
hands. I've done that for a full year and my face feels great. So many people are like, oh, my face is so puffy and this, that, and the other. I'm like, do you spend time with yourself? Because I almost think of the five love languages. Physical touch is a face routine. You're massaging your face,
Yeah.
you're putting on your serum, you're spending quality time with yourself. It's important.
Definitely. Sorry, Murphy's.
It's okay. Murphy's,
Is it Amazon?
tell us we got another great habit.
Yo, oh, let's not talk about that habit. I love Amazon.
What would
Um,
be a little advice to give to our listeners as we close today?
Good advice for listeners today would be is trying to create a routine no matter how small.
Mm,
I know some people just wake up and make their bed. I don't make my bed. I think I have a very good routine and I'm very disciplined, but I never make my bed.
that's okay.
But it's starting small, whatever works for you, just to get, I think starting small and creating that very, very small routine will build for future success.
I'm going to build on what you're saying. My advice I give clients, and I even give it myself, start one habit for the week. And then once you have that habit, trial and error, make it work, have it adjusted. Once you feel confident in that one goal, the following week, add another.
Yeah.
Because so many people are like, oh, I'm going to do this whole thing in one day. That's a lot of pressure.
I know. I agree. People go so it's like go hard or go home, and it's like it doesn't
Hmm.
have to be like
It
that.
really doesn't. Start one, find it, make it work, start your second one, start
Yeah.
small.
You have years, years, years of your life to build these routines. So like there's no need to rush. Even if you want to
Yeah.
instead of doing building on it in a week, you could go a whole year or a few
Hmm.
months with the same tiny routine and build on it that way.
Try your best to stay consistent. That's
Yeah.
Consistency is key. That cliche poster.
Yes. Yes. And one more piece of advice
Mm-mm.
is just being open-minded to friendships outside of your little niches. You know,
Yeah.
stem outside. Maybe you have a cool coworker who secretly, I don't know, does roller derby or
Yeah.
something
I
really cool.
mean, it's I
Learn.
I jokingly say it's not high school anymore. So many high schools are
Yeah.
so clicky that they're like, "Oh, if you don't fit this." And I think social media maintains that clickiness. I'm like, "You
Mhm.
guys, we're too old for this. Like, there are other people out there and it's not uncool to be not cool anymore. Like, you just do you. Don't worry
Yeah.
about what other people are thinking, what other people are doing. If anything, those people are probably wishing they had the same hobbies and habits because so many people are indoors doing nothing.
Yeah.
And we all got to go outside and do something.
Yeah. Period.
I think we'll end on that note.
For
So,
sure.
thank you so much for being a part of today's
Well,
episode.
thank you for having
Girl, I
me.
love it. I love having the company so I'm not alone with my little thoughts.
You know I love to talk, so it's glad to talk to somebody.
It works. It works.
Talk to the people.
The people. Well, to the people, happy Wednesday. I wish you all a great rest of the day. Weekend to come. My friend Serena says farewell.
Thank you. I hope I'm invited back. We will see.
Leave us some questions, leave us some comments. As always, we're building on topics. What do you want to hear? What do we want to say? I'll talk to you all next week.